Welcome to the house of Ithiel, a spirit from God. On the 26th of June 2024, the man of God, Prophet Favor Ithiel, gave a prophetic word to the nations. The prophet said, I saw China and India will compete over technology, but this time India will win. Let us hear what the prophet said and its fulfillment.
China and Indian will compete. This is against technology experts. But the Indian government will win. When I say the Indian government, because this time the hand of the Lord shall show the nation of India favor. Let us keep praying.
India faces a new challenge on the high seas. China is ramping up its naval operations in India's backyard. This week, an Indian Navy ship docked in Colombo. Chinese warships were also present. Not one, not two, but 3 Chinese vessels. They just happened to be in Colombo at the same time. What are the odds? These visits are becoming more frequent now. Beijing now deploys 12 to 15 ships to the Indian Ocean every year. 12 to 15 Chinese ships. How should India respond to this? How can it keep Chinese naval activity in check? With the help of submarines, India is deploying nuclear submarines to build deterrence. The latest one was launched today. It is called the INS Arighat. Arighat means the destroyer of enemies. The submarine runs on nuclear power and it can launch nuclear missiles. India's defense minister launched the submarine today. The INS Arighat will strengthen India's nuclear triad. And what is a nuclear triad? It is the ability to launch nuclear weapons from land, sea and air. India gained this capability in 2018 with the INS Arihant becoming fully operational. Arihant was India's first nuclear-capable submarine. INS Arighat will now support the INS Arihant. These are a special class of submarines. They're called SSBN. SSBN stands for Ship, Submersible, Ballistic and Nuclear. In simpler words, an SSBN is like a Swiss Army knife of submarines, from staying submerged for months to launching ballistic missiles to stealth capabilities and launching nuclear weapons. These vessels can do all of it. Also, they don't need to be refueled frequently. Conventional submarines usually run on diesel, so they have to resurface periodically to be refueled. But SSBMs have a small nuclear reactor on board. This reactor powers the submarine, and that is how they stay submerged for a long period of time. Now, why does India need such submarines? For starters, it improves our deterrence. India has a no first use policy, meaning it will never strike an enemy with nuclear weapons first. No first use. And upholding this principle requires effective deterrence. What if there's a nuclear strike and India's land and air options are impaired? What do you do then? In that scenario, submarines will ensure that India can still retaliate. Both INS Arihant and Arighat operate under the water, so they're less vulnerable to a nuclear strike. They can carry up to 4 nuclear missiles. These missiles have a range of over 3,500 kilometers. So apart from boosting deterrence, they also give India leverage on the high seas and extend India's nuclear reach far beyond its borders. But New Delhi has a more immediate concern: the Chinese Navy and its growing fleet of ships and submarines. In pure numbers, China is way ahead of India. The PLA is the largest naval force in the world. In 2020, it had more than 70 submarines, 70 submarines with China in 2020. What about India? The Indian Navy was operating less than 20 subs. Now, India is trying to bridge this gap. The plan is to acquire 24 new vessels by 2030, 24 new submarines. This will include 18 conventional and 6 nuclear-powered subs. There are also plans to beef up the SSBM fleet to have up to 4 such submarines in the near future. And this will make India the only non-permanent member of the UN Security Council to operate at such a scale. And where would these submarines be deployed? Mostly around India's immediate borders, like the Bay of Bengal, the Andaman Sea, and the northern part of the Indian Ocean. These regions are strategically significant for not just India, but China as well. Many important trade routes pass through these waters, which is why China keeps sending ships here. It wants to dominate these waters. India's new fleet of vessels will help keep China in check. But for this deterrent strategy to be effective in the long run, India needs both speed and scale. New inductions cannot be delayed.
Viewers, you can see how far the eyes of Jesus Christ can reach. Yes, even in our situations, this is to remind us that Jesus Christ sees it and He is concerned about it, to grant us solutions to our problems. Do not forget, this channel is all about Jesus Christ. Keep watching God Voice TV for the salvation of souls.